But that was a bit of a surprise, wasn't it? I feel like I've been massively contradictory to my first YouTube video, where I obviously spoke about feeling a loss of identity and losing myself to being a bikini athlete. And then lo and behold, what have I just done? I've literally just got up on stage again. But this time was very different to any prep, any stage experience, anything that I've ever done before. And I did it for confirmation that that is the end of an era for me, clarity that my passion was definitely gone, and wanting a positive ending to a sport that I spent 8 years of my life in. That's why I did it all. And this YouTube is going to delve into it all. This episode is going to delve into it all. I'm very excited to talk about it, to be honest, because whilst I do not want being a fit model or athlete or a bikini athlete or any of that to be who I am anymore, which is exactly why I'm leaving it in the past now, I did want to share and I did want to talk about my experience and why I did fit model and I did one last show even after all these years, what my last show experience was like and prep experience was like, and why it's kind of led me to doing this one last show, and how I feel about a lot of things. Because I'll be completely honest, it's been really hard to not speak openly and honestly about how I feel with things. It's been really hard. I'm not one to lie. I won't lie about things. I don't like lying. I don't believe in lying. So I just won't say anything. If I feel a certain way about something or I don't agree with something, I will never lie about it. I just won't say anything. And I feel like I've not said anything for a long time about how I've really been feeling, and how I have felt about fit model. Obviously I've not spoken about fit model because I didn't put anything on social media about me doing it until now. On the run up, I didn't post anything about it. Realistically, I only decided to do it 3 weeks out. So I'm going to kind of take you back to that. Yeah, so I basically spent the majority of the beginning of the year getting myself or lifestyle dieting towards my best friend's wedding. My best friend got married, well, my best friends got married, both of them. My best friend is Nia, and Libby is one of my best friends too. And my best friend, Nia, has been a lifelong friend for 27 years now. And Libby I've known for the last 7 or 8 from Nia, and she is one of my best friends too. So they were getting married in May. So the beginning of the year, I was very aware that I wanted to just drop a little bit of weight for that wedding, look my best. They were very locked in as well to becoming their best for their wedding day. So I kind of have been lifestyle dieting since the beginning of the year. I wouldn't really say I took it very seriously up until March time. I was just gradually dropping a little bit of body fat, focused a lot on my training, very much into hybrid training, very much into high rocks training. I absolutely thrive with high intensity training. My body loves it. I have really excelled with running. I didn't think I would ever be a runner. Here I am. I'm quite a good runner, if I do say so myself. So kind of been leaning into that since the beginning of the year. Then after me and Josh went to Prague in March time, I was like, right, now if you want to be feeling your best for this wedding, you really need to lock in a little bit more now. So I did that. And as I got closer to the wedding and getting kind of lifestyle lean for that, again, I was still having loads of flexibility. Like I'm never strict prep again or strict diet again. It does not interest me. I want any sort of lifestyle diet I do to be working around my lifestyle and for me to not have to sacrifice life. Obviously, whenever you're dieting or you're trying to lose weight, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. It is what it is. You're going to have to get the cardio in. You're going to have intensive training, of course, to see the results. But I never wanted to. I've done lose 20 kilos in 20 weeks. Not enjoyable, not fun, horrible. Got to sacrifice your whole life for it. Not interested. I didn't have 20 kilos to lose anyway. But as I was saying, I started locking in a little bit more, started to drop some more body fat. And as I got closer to the wedding, I thought, maybe maybe you could kind of just jump into to fit model. Like, you're very lifestyle lean anyway, Emily. Why don't you maybe do that? And I was umming and ahhing, but I didn't want to make any commitments. And I knew that I never wanted to do a prep again. As I said, I never want a strict diet again. I never wanted to do that. But there was always this kind of this what if looming over me. What if you do fit into fit model? What if you can do fit model whilst just living your life? What if you can put the fit into fit model? So there was always that what if, because I'd never done fit model before, and it came out after my last season. And this was the second thing. My last season as a bikini athlete was horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. It was not a good experience. I turned pro in 2022. My first season as a pro, I got top 5 in the Ben Weider show, which was Natty, of course. And it was a big lineup of like 20 girls, and I was buzzing with that, absolutely buzzing. And I felt like if I'd have brought a little bit more condition, I could have potentially got higher. So the aim of the game was to go into my second season, do the Ben Weider natural show again, and also do an open show and see where I fit as a natural athlete in an open show. And I'll be honest, I knew from even 20 weeks out that I was going to come in too lean. I knew it. I remember saying it to one of my friends, and I said, I'm going to end up too lean for these shows. I just know it. If I keep going in the way that I'm going to be too lean. But what do? We trust in the process. We trust in the actions that we're told to do. We tick every single box. You're very much a robot when you're on prep, and that's what I was. I was a robot. I did everything to an absolute T. I ticked every single box. I did every cardio session. I ate every meal. I did exactly as I was told. And as we got closer to show day, that's when I started to think, this is the leanest you've ever been, Emily, and you don't look good. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I've got no fullness. The year that I got my top 5 in bikini pro, I was full. I had a great look. I was fuller. I was 49, 50 kilos, which is a fuller look for me. And I loved it. And I looked great. And I was really happy with the look. But this time was 47 with a boob job as well. So my boob job equated for about over half a kilo, the implants. And then I was 47 kilos. So I was well in the 46s. That's almost 4 kilos less than my top 5 look. And I knew as a natural athlete, this was too lean. I was going catabolic. I started to develop health issues. And my body was suffering. And I knew it was not going to be good. So lo and behold, when it came to my first show day, it didn't matter how many carbs were going in. I wasn't filling up. I wasn't looking full. I wasn't looking good. And what happened? I got 16th out of 16th. I spent the majority of my prep feeling isolated, feeling alone, feeling a lot of self-doubt. I had so much self-doubt. I didn't believe in myself in any way whatsoever. And I didn't feel like I didn't really have a close circle. I'd moved to Dubai to pursue that prep because I wanted it to be my best prep ever. I wanted to be the best I could be up on stage for that season. And if anything, it left me feeling worse. I felt so much disbelief in me. I didn't believe in myself at all. I felt lost. I felt sad a lot. I felt like I lacked purpose. And there were some days where I remember being on that Stairmaster and thinking, what's the point? Like, what is the point? I don't believe in me. No one else really believes in me, because I didn't feel like anyone really believed in me. Don't get me wrong. Like, my friends and the people closest to me will always believe in me no matter what. But I didn't feel good. So yeah, I got to my first show, didn't fill up. My body just wouldn't. There gets to a point where you are so lean that it doesn't matter what you put in, the body's just not responding because it's catabolic. It's losing muscle. It is firing through every carb you give it, and it doesn't look good. And as a natural, you know, once you're at that point, you're in the bin. You're done. There's no saving that. And that was my first show. And 2 weeks later, I had another show. So the first show I came 16th out of 16th, and I was gutted, but I was the only natural in an open lineup. So I kind of took it on the chin and was like, well, you are natty. These girls have got, years on you. I was stood up there with one of the most, the bikini goat. So obviously I was not going to fit in as a natural athlete, and that's fine. There are amazing natural athletes that absolutely could fit in, by the way. I'm not disputing that there aren't ones that can fit in, but I couldn't. It just weren't for me. My genetics weren't there. But I had hope that the Ben Weeder, the natural show, a couple of weeks later would be better. And it was worse. It was worse. I came in leaner again. I didn't fill up in any way, at least for the first show. I filled up somewhat, but still didn't really do much. The second show, even worse, I didn't fill up at all. And then the morning of the show, I almost missed my category. I didn't pump up. I didn't get any food and meat beforehand. Not that it would have mattered. My physique was already dead before I even got to show day. So a few more rice cakes and jam in the morning would not have done anything to save my physique. A pump up wouldn't have done anything. My physique was already gone. But then the show day was awful. I almost missed my category. The show was running so much earlier than I anticipated. I wasn't already at the venue. I did my tan and my makeup myself. My tan was too light. That was on me. That was my fault. I did my makeup. Makeup was fine, to be fair. But I needed to be at the venue earlier. And I wasn't at the venue earlier for a few things. One, me and my lack of time management and recognising it was running early. That's my fault. And also the fact that the person I was with at the time was absolutely desperate to get a SIM card because he didn't want to pay extra on his phone to use his roaming on his phone or whatnot. And he was like, we need to go and get a SIM card. We need to go. And I was like, wow, I don't really have time, but if you need to get one, because how am I meant to get in contact with you? And you're at the front of the stage and I'm at the back and whatever. So we went and got that. And that was another thing that threw me off. So yeah, it was a combination of things that made me late for that show. And I got up on stage, I showcased my physique, and same again. 16th, that was 16th. I was gutted. I was broken. I was devastated. I felt like I had given this prep my everything to the point where I had sacrificed my entire life and moved over to Dubai to be the best pro athlete I could. And I just fell flat on my face. And I felt sad. I felt a lot of disbelief in the whole process. I reflected back on the prep and I was like, I knew I should have trusted what I knew in myself, not just been a robot, and recognized that I was going to be lean too early and either pulled back on cardio or put more food in or even done earlier shows. And yeah, it probably would have been a more positive experience. And then after, I was just left feeling completely deflated. I was disheartened, I was sad. And as I said in my first video, my first episode of this kind of YouTube series, I lost my identity completely. I lost who I was, the person that had put years and years and years into her craft as a bikini athlete. I lost that all in that season. Every single thing I lost my self-belief, I lost my purpose, I lost my physique, I lost muscle. I lost so much muscle. I gained a load of health issues. I lost my close circle, my home, because I was living in Dubai. Dubai wasn't home to me. My friends, my family, they were all still back in the UK, and I had just become a robot to the sport and a robot to all the behaviours that I needed to do to be a good athlete. And then to not even get the reward at the end, to not even showcase what I'd put all of my attention into for not only that prep, but the 8 years or 7 years or whatnot that I'd been competing. It was a real low time. I moved back to the UK afterwards. I moved back in with my mum, which felt like a step back, a massive step back, considering I'd bought my own house, I'd rented out my house, I'd moved to Dubai, I'd got a flat in Dubai, I'd done all the things that I dreamed of. And then all of a sudden I was back in my house, my mum's house, in my box bedroom, My coaching business was suffering because I didn't have the mental capacity to be able to deal with it, to manage it. I couldn't deal with looking after my clients properly at the time because I was in such a place of low mental health as well. I always tried my hardest to show up for my girls, but I know that there was a disconnect at the time because I was struggling. And yeah, it felt like it had really gone backwards for me, and I felt abandoned post-show, to be honest. At the time, I felt like the season hadn't gone the way that I had hoped, and me and my coach at the time had hoped. And after, I just felt abandoned. I really did. I felt so lost, and there was no one there to help me and to guide me and to support me. So I just had to kind of navigate it myself. I had to figure out how I felt post-show and what I needed from life and what I wanted from life. And that is what took me to find myself again. That feeling of loss and that feeling of abandonment and that feeling of uncertainty for who I was, because I realised, wow, you've put all your eggs in one basket here, Em, and you haven't got that anymore. So now what? Now what are you going to do? It was like, right, actually, you've not intended to, but you've actually fucked yourself over a bit here, Em, because now what have you got to live for? Now you haven't got that sport. Now that you're not successful as an athlete anymore, what have you got? What can you do? You know, there was part of me that knew as a natural athlete there would only be so far I could get, but I had never prepared for that. I was living a delusion that I was going to get all the way to the Olympia. Could I have done that? Who knows? Who knows? The way the bikini's going for assistance, absolutely not. Maybe I could have done it in Fit Model. And I guess there was that part, this is kind of what leads me on to now, is there was always that part of me that was like, what if Fit Model is where you're calling? What if that's where you're meant to be? What if your passion for competing is actually meant to be in that instead? So whilst I stepped back from that season completely deflated and lost, in the back of my mind, I guess I always felt like Fit Model was there. I always had that fallback of Fit Model, and well, you can go into that in the future. Like that's where you can head. You can still strive for your goals and your purpose with Fit Model. But I was no way ready to step back up on stage soon. Obviously, I had to wait a year because Fit Model didn't come into the Pro League until this year. So I had to have a year away. And that year that I was forced away from the sport, the best year of my life in 7 years. 7 years of competing. I did more in the last year that I was not up on stage at all than I did in that 7 years. I achieved more personally. Yeah, I achieved a lot in my competing years. Of course I did. Like, I've achieved amazing placings and I've been to some incredible places for competing, but I sacrificed most of my life. 7 years competing equates to 3.5 years on prep easily, if not more. So 3.5 years were just dedicated to dieting and training and isolation in that, because bodybuilding is very isolating. So I'd just done that. So this last year, I got intentional with my goals. I got intentional with the things I wanted to experience in life that I didn't have to sacrifice anything for. I mean, to a degree, probably some things I had to sacrifice for. Life, of course, but I found so much purpose in the last year. I think I traveled to about 7 different places in 1 year. That's crazy. I excelled with my coaching business even more and added more avenues to it and more things I felt passion towards to it. I invested into my clients even more because I'd felt so neglectful because I was struggling with my mental health previously. I was like, no, I'm never in my life am I not showing up for my clients. Never in my life am I going to not be the best coach I can be. I'm going to do everything I can to ensure that I am the best that I can be. And I did that. Like, it was one of the best years I've ever had as a coach, and my clientele absolutely excelled in all of their achievements, which was amazing. I moved out of my mum's my room in my mum's house, and I moved in with the love of the love of my life, the person that I am certain that I am going to be marrying one day. You wait, there will be an update on here one day and I will have a ring on this finger, trust. It's gonna happen. And we did that, and we've built a home together and a life together. And there was nothing I wanted more than to settle down with somebody. And I made that happen. Like, me and Josh made that happen together. And I found myself, I found more passions, things that I enjoyed, and my life was the best. Like, it is the best. And it was the best year that I'd had in a very, very, very long time, with no toxicity and no negativity whatsoever. Like, genuinely, can hand on heart say, don't knock my mic that I've actually got on today. It was the best year that I have had in my life ever. And it continues to be. Like, that's not ended last year. My life still now is excelling. It is so good. I'm so happy because I found my identity. I found who I am. I found and created the life that I wanted for many, many years. And I've just delved headfirst into it. And I've moved away from anything that doesn't align with me, anything that doesn't feel good for me, anything that doesn't feel purposeful. Like, I'm 30 next year, and one of the main things I can genuinely say I've learned in my 20s is, do not do anything that doesn't make you feel good. Do not do anything that doesn't align with you. Don't pursue goals that don't align with you. Don't do a job that doesn't align with you. Don't do anything that doesn't uplift you or make you feel good. And I know it's easier said than done. You might be in scenarios and, situations at the moment where you're not happy and you just can't, obviously you can't quite get out of them as easy as that. But that's your telltale sign. If you're not happy in them, you need to start thinking about taking risks to get out. You need to start creating a plan of action. Because if you're ever not happy in life, you need to change something. Unless you want to be unhappy forever, which you don't, none of us do, you've got to start taking action. I didn't want to be single and unhappy. I wanted a meaningful, intentional relationship with someone who wanted the same things as me and aligned with me and was my best friend. So I set out to find that, and I got that and more. Like, Josh is absolutely incredible. I wanted to feel fulfilled in my business. I wanted to feel good in my business. I wanted to show up for my business properly. So I learned ways to benefit my business in order for me to show up and be the best I could be. I made it an unwritten rule to myself that I was going to always be present. I was going to put things in place to ensure that I was the best coach I could be, and that I was going to do something I loved as a career. So I put even more into my business. And I also recognised environments I didn't like being in. I recognised where I felt anxiety, what people I would speak to and would make me feel in my gut like there was fakery there or inauthenticity, and I would distance myself from those people as well. As much as we thrive into the positive things, we also have to recognise what doesn't make us feel good. Who do we surround ourselves with who don't make us feel good or make you feel uncomfortable or make you question yourself or make you anxious? Those aren't people you need to be around. You need to be around people that make you feel accepted, people that give you unconditional love, people that make you feel supported, people that uplift you and can see and believe in you and support in you, because in those environments, that's where you'll thrive. That's where you'll grow. So I made sure that I made those environments for me, and I put myself in those environments and I created them. That's what I try and do now. That's one thing that I'm moving forward with my business, is creating more community and working with people and their mentality and mindset to help them see that they should be surrounded by people that help them love themselves and believe in themselves, and getting out of those toxic environments. That's something I love to do, and I want to do that for people, and I needed to do that for myself in order to find myself. And yeah, so like I said, that last year was focused on all those things, on just bringing positives to my life. But there was always that fit model what if looming in the back of my mind. And I knew I never wanted to do a competition prep again. I never wanted to strict diet again. I'd built such a healthy relationship with my body and with my food and my life. I don't want to make sacrifices, and competing does take sacrifices, especially bikini. To get that level of lean that you need to be shredded. And that means no eating out, no eating off plan, training to an absolute T, being 100% disciplined. And I have done that for many years, but I'm in a position now where I don't want to do that ever again. And I recognised that at the end of last year. And it wasn't something I've wanted to do. I'm always happy to lifestyle diet. Lifestyle diet is easy. You know, once you get the hang of it and you develop a good relationship with your body and your mind and food and your routine and training and etc., lifestyle dieting isn't hard. It's quite easy, so long as you've got the right support system as well, accountability. But I knew I didn't want to prep. I knew I didn't want to go to another coach that would try and get me on a prep and to train or bodybuild diet doesn't interest me anymore. Living in that way, I coach many girls are still in the bodybuilding industry, and I will always have a part of it. Of course, it was my life for 8 years. So of course I still coach people to it, and I always will. I'm still passionate about it, but in a way that I would rather live that passion through other people than through myself, because I don't feel passion for me to do it anymore. I don't feel passion getting up on stage and being judged on my physique. I don't see my physique as a project anymore. I don't see competing as a hobby anymore. It became a career for me, and I think I just fell out of love with the career of it, and I couldn't go back to it as a hobby now because I'm too far gone. I'm too far gone with it for me. And this is the thing, I always had the fit model, you know, thoughts looming over me, but I never wanted to do it in a way that didn't align with me and I didn't enjoy. Because as I said, as I get closer to my 30s now, I recognise that there is no point doing things in life that don't align with you, don't make you feel good, that you don't enjoy. So I lifestyle dieted up until my best friend's wedding. I got very, very lifestyle lean. I was really happy with my physique. I went on holiday, had an amazing time. And this was the end of May, beginning of June. I came back. I started to get back into my routine a little bit. And then I went to London for the weekend with one of my friends, Jazz, and we did a fitness event. And honestly, we just had a massive foodie weekend and it was amazing. And I came back, and when I came back, I was like, oh, if you're going to do this show, and it was the Portugal show, was the only one I was considering doing, because I'll be honest, I am not down flying over to America and spending all that money on a show. And competing is very expensive, and I wasn't prepared to do that. And I wanted Josh to come in. I know Josh didn't want to have to spend loads of money to go over to America to basically sit in your hotel for 3 days before the show and do nothing, and then do the show and then go home. So Portugal was the only option. And I came back and I spoke to Dan, my coach. I spoke to Josh. Dan is an endurance coach. He does not do bodybuilding. He does not do competition prep. And that's fine. I said to him, all I want to do is do this show in exactly the way that we are training now. Exactly the same diet. I'm not prepping. I'm not going low with my calories. I will just stop eating out and we'll just keep the intensity of my training high. And he was like, yep, sound, let's do it. Sod it. So we did. Josh was on board as well. We had 3 weeks. Like, my physique was already there pretty much. And I just stuck to my normal macros, and I didn't eat out. I didn't eat any extra bits. I just literally stuck to my calories. Got to the show and didn't peak, didn't do a peak week. I didn't deplete carbs. I didn't manipulate water or anything like that. Actually, that's a lie. I pushed water a little bit higher the last couple of days on the run up to the show because I was in Portugal and it was bloody boiling and we were having a heat wave in the UK. So I did push my water up a little bit higher, but I didn't change anything about my food. I didn't change anything about my training. I did a bloody 5k race the Wednesday before the show. The show was on Sunday. Came third. Mint. But this is what I wanted. I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this one last show and I'm going to try Fit Model. I'm only doing it if I can do it my way, which I did. I wanted to put fit into Fit Model, essentially. And I did that. I got up there, the fittest I'd ever been, in a physique that is not dissimilar at all to my everyday look. Like, this is how I look currently. Got a little bit of a pump on. This does not take effort for me to maintain. With the intensity of my training and how good my nutrition is, my physique kind of naturally looks Fit Model anyway. So all we needed to do was just stick to my food, not eat extra. My eating extra normally gives me maybe 1,000 calories or so across the week. I don't know. so yeah, by cutting that out, it automatically put me in a bit of a deficit. So I dropped a bit of body fat and came into the show a little bit leaner than my everyday look. But again, it's not too dissimilar to how I look. And yeah, when we got there, we did the show, navigating food all day. I still got some carbs in throughout the day, but the show wasn't until like, I was on stage till like 8 at night. So I basically had to eat. I had to eat a lot less to keep my waist tight. Otherwise, naturally I would have bloated as well. And yeah, we did the show. We did the show with a 3-week kind of just not eating out, but intense training. Didn't change anything on peak week. And that was it. And I scratched the fit model itch. I loved the look I took to stage. I loved my physique because it's not, as I say, dissimilar to my everyday look. And I really like my body. I'm really comfortable and confident in my body and happy with that. And that was pretty much it. But I wanted to do it because I wanted to retire properly. I wanted to scratch that fit model itch, because the thing with me is I'm one of those people who would rather do and be glad I did it, even if I didn't enjoy it, than never do and regret not ever doing it. And that's what would have happened if I'd never done fit model and I'd just left the sport as I did. I would always have wondered, what if I do fit into that category? What if the passion is still there? What if my last stage experience just simply tainted the sport for me, but actually my passion was still there? And that was another, like I said, that was another reason I did fit model, because I wanted to see if my passion was still there. I wanted to see if, because I'd had such a horrible experience last prep, maybe I did still love it, but I just didn't know because of that last experience. So I wanted to try it again just to see. But to be honest, I knew before I even stepped up on stage and show day came. The morning of, or the whole time I was in Portugal, I was like, oh, why am I doing this? Like, you don't love doing this anymore. You don't love the waiting around on show day anymore. You don't love the tan. You don't love the bikini. You don't love this like you used to. And I kind of knew. And then when I was backstage, I was super nervous. I'm very, very anxious up on stage. I've always been that way. I always get very nervous and very shaky, and I feel like not doing it in that moment, but I did. But when I was backstage, I was nervous, and I had my very, very first coach there, Claire. She came to support. It was like full circle. I started my competing journey with her, ending it with her then. She's a very good friend of mine now. I had some of my closest competing friends there as well, which was amazing. I had Josh there, and Josh has always wanted to see me compete. We've known each other for 10 years. At a distance. So Josh actually saw me do my first prep from Pure Gym in 2018 and admired that then. And then he saw me in my other shows when I was in another gym that we were both in, and he admired me then. And I remember him coming up to me once and saying, I've watched you prep for years and I've just got to say it's absolutely phenomenal. And I remember being like, oh, thanks, bye. And we never really spoke much after that. But I remember that compliment and that memory stayed with me. And I remember, this is so random, I remember seeing Josh in the gym once, like a couple of years after he made that comment to me. And I remember looking at him and going, what if you're my soulmate? And I did nothing about it. And here we are now, living together, certain I'm going to marry him. But as I said, he had always wanted to watch me compete. He'd watched me prep over the years. So I really wanted to have that experience with him as well. I've competed a few times in relationships that did not deserve to see me get up on stage, but they did. And Josh definitely deserved. And you know how I know Josh is the one that I am going to marry? Because when I was up there being judged and I was up on stage and I was a nervous wreck, and I messaged him saying, yeah, this isn't for me anymore. I am ready to retire. He said to me after, he was like, that was the worst experience ever. And I said, what do you mean? And he was like, it was awful. He was like, you're perfect in my eyes, Em. And he was like, and I love you so much. I'm watching some random people judge you, and, you know, you be so nervous up there and you be so anxious. And basically one of the judges mocked my walk, and I could see it. So as I walked on, I have quite a bubbly walk because I'm excited and I'm showcasing my personality, and I could see the judge in the sitting there going like this, and she was going, no, don't like that, and she was doing this, and that affected me, and that made me think, oh my god, like I'm even more nervous now. And I messaged him that after I'd been up, and he said, after you sent me that, and I knew that you were up there really anxious and they were judging you, and he was like, I didn't like it at all. He was like, I didn't like to see somebody, he was like, someone that I love so much be a bag of nerves and be judged in the way that you were. And I love that. Like, that is so wholesome and so lovely. And yeah, so he wanted to see me compete, and then realised maybe no, he doesn't like that, but it's all good because I don't want to do it again anyway. And yeah, so I wanted to do it for Josh as well, and I did it for Josh. I did it for me to scratch that itch, and I did it for a positive ending to the season. But like I said, the whole show day, I was backstage, I was nervous. I got up on stage, I was nervous for the spinny stage. You all saw, I looked like a rotisserie chicken up there just spinning on the stage. That was making me nervous. And after I did that, I was like, oh God, I don't know about this. Like, how am I feeling about my individual routine? Did my individual routine. Obviously saw a judge mock my walk. And in that moment, I was like, oh my God, there's something wrong with my walk. She doesn't like my walk. And I had this like epiphany when I was up there, and I thought, why am I here feeling bad about the way that I walk? I was like, these legs have just ran me a 5k bloody race on Wednesday, and I got a 3rd place, and I'm here being judged for my walk and being made to feel rubbish about my walk whilst I'm trying to perform for you. And I was like, that makes me feel horrendous. And I snapped out of it, continued with my routine, went off stage, messaged Josh, told him, this isn't for me anymore. Like, I'm just going to enjoy the comparisons and the rest of the show day. But yeah, I'm definitely 100% done. Because there was that part of me that wondered if it would reignite the passion and reignite my love for the sport and competing, but it didn't. And I recognised that I don't get fulfilment out of it anymore. I get fulfillment and empowerment and enjoyment and passion from so many other things. And I've spent the last 2 years, year and a half, almost 2 years now, exploring myself and finding my identity and feeling secure in me and my life. And I have all the things that make me feel good. I have an incredible relationship that I feel secure and safe and loved unconditionally in. I have incredible friendships that, again, uplift me, empower me. We do incredible things together. We make memories together. We travel. We run together. We do fitness events together. Those are all things that uplift me and make me feel good and make me feel good in myself, empower me. I feel fulfilled by. I've got incredible clients, an incredible community. I adore working with them towards their goals, and that uplifts me, that empowers me, that makes me feel good. I feel purpose watching other people achieve their goals. And that's not, just competitive goals. Like I said, I do work with natural athletes, and seeing them get up on stage and achieve goals they're so passionate for, I love that. Like, that gives me purpose and fulfillment. But so does watching somebody step in the gym for the first time and get confident. So does helping somebody realise that, yeah, you can start your own baking business, and let's figure out a plan of action how we're going to make that happen. So just working with people in their mindset where they have been depressed and anxious for months and months and months on end, and suddenly they start to believe in themselves, helping clients leave abusive relationships and see their self-worth. That's where my fulfillment is. That's where my purpose is. That's what makes me feel good. And stepping up on stage to showcase my body that I have proudly built, and that is the fittest it's ever been, has the healthiest relationship with food it's ever had, feels good in itself, lives an amazing life. Being judged on that, it's not for me anymore. When my body was a project, when I lived for the sport in the way that I used to, it did fulfill me. It made me feel like great. I loved it. I loved getting up there. I loved showcasing what I had built. I loved being judged on it to then go away and improve. I loved always striving to improve. I loved that. I really had the passion for it, but I don't now, because I look at my body in a different way, and I look at my life in a different way, and the life that I have and everything that I do, that just makes me feel alive. Competing used to make me feel so alive. But it got to the point with competing where I wasn't, like I said, I did lose myself. Absolutely, I lost myself to the sport. And I was always seeking external validation from it because I wasn't secure in myself anymore. I wasn't happy with myself. The beginning of my competing journey, I was. I would say all the way up until I got my pro card. Once I stopped competing for a hobby and I started doing it as a sport and as a professional athlete, as a career, that's when I lost myself. That's when it was no longer doing it for me and doing it because I loved it and doing it for the enjoyment and the passion. That's when it became doing it because you have to, doing it for a chore, doing it for many reasons that weren't right anymore, chasing external validation, chasing that dopamine of being lean, valuing myself on that and valuing myself on the stage, and that was it. I didn't value myself in any other way, whereas it's different now. I value myself a lot, and like I keep saying, I don't want to do anything that doesn't align with me and doesn't make me feel good. So I am so glad that I did Fit Model, that I did that class, and that I scratched that itch, because like I said, I would much rather do and be glad that I did, even if it wasn't for me, than regret never doing at all. So I've done that now, and that officially can draw a line for me. I had an incredible experience, despite me not really enjoying actually being up on stage much, especially when we were doing those comparisons. We were being competitive. There were 40 of us in this class. Comparisons, I was in 4th call out, which I think there were 11 girls in last call out and I was in 4th. So that tells me I probably got like maybe 27th, 28th, 29th out of 40 girls, which I'll take that, considering I didn't prep, and it was basically based on just my body as a whole, so I love that. Again, not putting my worth on external validation or my body's worth on other people or placings, but either way, I'll take it. But I didn't enjoy that. I didn't enjoy being up on stage, but I did enjoy getting to be with my old coach, who's, you know, full circle, with her, who's always been in my corner as a friend and a coach. My partner, absolutely loved being there with him, some of my closest competing friends, and having my circle watch me from home and having them messaging me and having all my clients, you know, be in my corner as well, because they all knew it was happening. Even though I kept it off social media and I kept it quiet, they all knew. It was nice to be surrounded by love and support and all people in my corner and not feel alone like I had done the 2 years prior when I did my last competitive season. So I ended 8 years of competing on a high, and now I feel free. I feel like I've drawn a line under it. I feel like I can speak openly and honest about it, about how I feel about competing and how I'm ready to kind of move forward now, because to be honest, I don't want to speak about competing anymore. I know I'm doing another YouTube video on it, and my first one was about my identity being away from being a bikini athlete, but now I want to thrive into me. I want to thrive into who I am. I don't want to be thinking, well, am I going to do Fit Model? Am I not? Am I going to get back up on stage again? No, I'm done now. I'm retired. It's an ending of an era. I started at 21, I'm ending at 29, and I have every intention to go into my 30s, leaving it in my 20s, and moving forward, thriving into me. Thriving into the things that I love, the things that empower me, make me feel uplifted, and bringing that to everyone else, bringing that to my YouTube, bringing that to my clients, my community, and just being myself now. Not Emily Olivia, the bikini athlete, not Emily Olivia, the fit model athlete, not Emily Olivia, the athlete, just Emily Olivia, and that's it. And sharing all the different things about me and all the different things about my life. And of course, I'm still going to reference back to things here and there to do with competing and my past. They all the things from my past, and competing especially plays a huge role in who I am now. And I don't hate the sport. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, it's this, that, and the other. No, I don't. And I don't regret any of it at all. Like, no way. It gave me so much. I wouldn't be here right now, the person that I am, without it. Yeah, I did lose my identity, but it also helped me find my identity again, and plays a huge role in many parts of my identity. But I am ready to draw a line under that now and recognise this next chapter of my life is not about being an athlete at all. It's just about being me. And as I keep saying, I hope you're here for the ride. I hope you continue to watch my YouTube videos as I talk about other things, I go in depth about other things, I talk about my experiences in life, in day to day. I share more of me, I share more insight into my life, into my thought processes, into my mindset. And yeah, you're just here for the ride too, because it's exciting and it's nerve-wracking and it's daunting because it's completely new and outside of my comfort zone. That's why it's exciting though, isn't it? Because it is out the comfort zone. We all want to stay in familiarity because it's easy, but familiarity isn't where you grow. And I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to put new stuff out there, and I'm ready to work more on helping other people find themselves as well. And hopefully I can do that by being myself. So please comment, like, subscribe. Any feedback you've got, let me know. And any questions you have as well about anything that I do, feel free to comment, because I will answer and I'll reply and I'll give insight. And keep supporting. That's all I ask. So, bye-bye.